here in the project, they are having you work with a circular piece of paper, and they want you to fold it as shown. They want you to fold it 3 times. So you start with a circle and you fold it in half. Let's take a look at what that, then open the paper and look at it. What does that look at? How many folds have you created? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Give me just a second. So if I had a circle and I fold it once, notice what would happen is it would just fold it in half. I would have 1 fold right down the middle. Okay, then they want you to fold it again, do a second fold. So when it's in half, okay, so go from this point, fold it again, okay, so that the sides meet, right? Now, if you opened it at that point, then you would have a new fold. Okay, you would have one going this way. Okay, but fold it back up. So we start with our big circle, we fold it 1 time, fold it in half exactly, fold that in half exactly, and this is what you would have. And then they want you to fold it 1 more time. Okay, so fold this wedge in half to a 3rd fold. What they want to know is how many different sized angles you come up with. Well, after this 3rd fold, if we open up our paper, here's what we're going to have. I'm going to change the color of my line here. It would cut everything else in half. So I'd get cut in half this way, and I would be cut in half this way. Now, they didn't ask how many angles are formed. They asked how many different size angles are formed. Which makes this a little more challenging. Okay, so notice we have the small angle. Those are all exactly the same size. That's 1 angle, this small one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and color that angle in. Red. Okay, so here's my first size of angle. And I have several of those. Notice I have several of those around the circle. Okay, and I'm going to tally up as we count here. There's 1 angle. Well, or we could put 2 of these sections together, okay, and get this 90-degree angle. That's another size of angle. Or we could put 3 of them together and get this size angle. That's another one. I'm just tallying as we go. Or we could put 4 of them together and get a half of a circle. There's another one. Okay. Notice those are all different size central angles. Okay, we could include this one. There's our 5th one. We can include this one. See, our angle just keeps getting bigger and bigger as we go. There's another one. And we can include this one. There is another. So far we have 7. Now notice if we color in this last one, that doesn't count as a central angle because it's the entire circle. So how many different size angles did we come up with? We came up with 7 different central angles. Okay, now down here, select the central angles that might occur. So let's talk about what central angles might occur. Let me clear out my picture, and we'll start, instead of just looking at what they might look like, we'll talk about their actual size. Okay, so again we have our circle piece of paper, and I'll go ahead and draw a bigger circle so we can look at it better. And we did, you know, we're talking about the same folds we made before. So we folded it in half, and then we folded it in half again. It's not quite half, sorry about that. And then we folded it in half 1 more time, so that cuts everything in half 1 more time. So we get this cut in half this way and this way. Okay, so that's what the result of our folds are. Now notice each of those is exactly the same size. Each section does turn out to be exactly the same size. So let's find out, what's the measure of each section? Well, all around the circle is 360. How many equal sections do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal sections. So let's find the measure of each section. Well, if we take 360 and divide it into 8 congruent pieces, we get 45 degrees each. Okay, so, well, then what does that mean for us? Well, that means for us that each section is 45-degree opening. So this is 45, and this is 45, and this is 45. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of do what we did on the top half. But when we do it, we're going to talk about not just what the different looks will be, but what the actual different measures will be. Okay, so if we're looking at this, well, we could just take one angle. Okay, and I'll go ahead and color it in. So one option is to just do one angle. How big was that angle? 45 degrees. So one possible central angle we could have is a 45-degree angle. Okay, or like we did before, we could take and put two of these together and form this angle here. Well, that would be 45 plus 45. What's 45 plus another 45? Well, that's a 90-degree angle. So we could also have a 90-degree central angle. All right. Or we could add in the next section too. That would be another angle that could be formed. All right. And how many degrees would that be? Well, we have 90 here plus another 45 is 135 degrees. Okay, and then we would have this angle that comes from here to here. Or we could add in that next section, okay, and we would add another 45. So we had 135 here. What's 135 plus another 45? Well, when you color it in, you can see, what do we have now? We have half a circle, 180. And we just keep going. We could add in that next angle to make another central angle. And what do we get? Well, 180 plus another 45 is 225. We could add in the next 45. What's another 45 going to give us for our central angle? Well, it's going to give us 270. We could add in the next 45, and what's that going to give us? 315. Okay, so those are all of the possible central angles we could make. Now, they may be in different parts on the circle, but those are all the combinations. We do have one wedge left here, but notice if we fill that wedge in, we're covering our entire circle, and that's not going to count as a central angle. So here are all of the possible central angles that you could get: 45, 90, 135, 180, 225, 270, and 315.